React Court. Real people, maybe. Real people, definitely. Real cases, 50-50. But either way, it's Judge Egg. We're going to be doing a little bit of judgment on AITA Filtered, the best of Am I the Asshole? And then we're going to be following that by checking out We Want Plates. Actually, this time, checking out We Want Plates and looking at food being served in ridiculous ways. But let's get started here. First off, it's a spicy one to begin with. This is hot though. This is not top this week. Top today. Top this week. Okay. Too expensive? Not with an interactive broker's account. Buy stocks you want, regardless of the share price, with fractional trading. Open you iBeaker account today. Just personally, I would prefer a brokership that actually spell checks its tweets before putting them out there. But I've heard great things about iBroker, so I'm not trying to make any enemies here. But you know us, we're a Wealth family here. Am I the asshole for subscribing to my coworkers' OnlyFans? All right, this is very timely. From 1 day ago. It's literally as timely as it gets. I thought if you middle click, it opens it in a new tab. Does that not work? Maybe not. I'm trying to learn new Chrome browser shortcuts. All right, it doesn't. Oh, you got to do it on. What the heck is going on over here? Okay. Am I the asshole for subscribing to my coworkers' OnlyFans? Oh, you know what? No, I'm on the right. Oh, no, I'm on the default subreddit. Oh, no, man. That's a little scary. Hafu, thank you. Thank you for the resubscription. I was watching some Hearthstone BG last night. Welcome to React Court. It gets a little spicy here. Spicier than trying to hold short in that Valorant map, where you can throw a Molotov cocktail through the grate at the top. It's a little half-moon window. I know all the call-outs. I don't need to tell you. Okay, so I work at a local restaurant, and I, 36 male, have a coworker, 27 female, who has an OnlyFans. She never really kept that fact a secret. She tries to get the other hostess to start doing it for a while. So this past week, I guess there was some news on OnlyFans saying they were going to shut down the explicit stuff, so she was more vocal about OnlyFans stuff at work than usual. I overheard that she goes by her first name on OnlyFans, which is pretty unique. Out of curiosity, I did a search for her name and was able to find it, and I subbed. I don't know how she found out, like if they can see subscribers' names or something, but today she asked me if I subbed to her OnlyFans, and I was like, yeah. She told me that's not cool and I'm invading her privacy. I'm like, okay, I can cancel my sub. Then she tells me to delete any pics and videos I saved, and I was like, no, I paid for those. So she says she'll give me my money back, and I'm like, okay then. But now she wants to come to my house to make sure I delete the stuff, and I'm like, no, just take my word for it. This is written so conversationally. It's so good. But now she wants to come to my house and make sure I delete the stuff, and I'm like, no, take my word for it. But she is insisting on coming to my place. She says I'm the asshole for all this, but I think she's an asshole for making such a big deal about this. It's not like I've ever made any creepy comments in person or commented on any of her OnlyFans stuff. I was like, dude, who TF cares? I know what your butthole looks like. Hundreds of people know what it looks like. Okay, it's just, honestly, I thought this was going to be spicy, but it's actually just kind of funny, I guess, is the way that it feels to me. I mean, maybe it's not funny for her, but it's kind of, the way it's written in particular is funny for me. Is he the asshole? Let's talk it out. You got to warm up to React Court a little bit. I feel like he's not an asshole for the headline, which is subscribing to my coworkers' OnlyFans. If she's talking about it at work, you know, she's being open about the fact that she's on the platform, and you know, he engages via the terms of service of the app to subscribe to her account, does not make him the asshole to subscribe. If she found out you subscribed and was like, please unsubscribe and I'll give you a refund, he would, look, I'm just going to be honest. Is the guy maybe like a certified I don't even want to say he's a certified creep. He's maybe like a little weird. Is the combative energy is a little strange, but it seems like he basically did exactly what she asked for the most part. She said delete the photos. The correct answer is okay. He said no, I have my legal rights because I purchased them. Maybe a little weirdo energy. She said, I'll give you your money back. And he said, okay, fine. With that contract fulfilled, then I will delete the photos. And now she wants to like go to his house and rummage through stuff to make sure that he doesn't have it. I can understand where she's coming from. Like, I think maybe she's like, because this guy knows me in real life, it's like a privacy and maybe even like a security risk that if I piss him off, he could use this to like, send it to my friends and family or something like that. Like, that's a little bit messed up for sure. I can understand why she would be anxious about that. But he hasn't done that. And, I mean, I don't think she has any recourse to go to his house and search through all of his like electronic records to see if he still got the photos. I don't even know. How do you know what you're looking for? How do you know if it's not there? If she found it, she would be like, there it is, you liar. But if she never found it, I think she would just maintain like for the rest of her life that he just hid it better. But anyway, I don't know. I certainly don't think he's an asshole for this. I don't think she's really out of line. I could understand. I mean, I get irritated sometimes when people I know IRL are like, I watched your video yesterday and I'm not even showing my butthole. I'm showing like the butthole of my soul sometimes with the things that I'm saying, and that feels very intimate to me. So when people are like, I was watching your video yesterday, I'm like, don't do that. We know each other in real life. There needs to be a barrier between those things. But so I can understand where she's coming from, but simultaneously, I don't really think that he's done anything too wrong here, except maybe cross an informal boundary. So this one, not the asshole. Sure, okay. I mean, it's people. This is how we got ourselves into this mess, man. Like this, people can't talk to each other as human beings anymore. It's just dripping in like sardonic assholery. Yes, viewing and downloading publicly available content is invading her privacy, but demanding access to your personal devices and property to look through your pictures and videos is perfectly fine. Sarcasm ending. Hypocrisy at its finest. Okay, 1.2 thousand upvotes for the argument that you had with this person in your head in the shower. I do like this one, though. God, this is a tough one. In one way, it's really creepy you did that. I guess for her, it's different when it's people she doesn't know and is never going to meet. When she knows you, it's a bit weird, mate. I think that's fair. However, you didn't invade her privacy. She's put all her private out on the internet, so I guess not the asshole. I agree. I love this. This is also like heavy Twitch chat energy. It's like if anybody disagrees with you, you just find like the one gotcha and put it in all caps. She advertised her OnlyFans at work. It's okay. We can disagree, but this is bad rhetoric in my opinion. This is the appeal to caps lock. Argument al caps lock del reductio. Close this up. You're the asshole. Saving her photos is what makes it over the line. IMO, nobody wants their older male coworker signing up for their sexually explicit OnlyFans without a specific invite. It's a creepy, bad look. That's definitely true. I get that you can argue via analogy here. I don't know why I'm taking such a lawyer approach to it, but you could be like, well, what if she had like a side hustle where she sold cookies that she cooked in her house, and then I went to her house and I bought some cookies from her and she was mad at me? But there is a difference, between she has a side hustle where she's doing like some food service or something like that, and alternatively, I went to look at her private parts because I knew they were out there. This to me is more like, what's funny? It's even creepier if you have like the idea that, what if she was like driving for Uber and then he was like, I specifically made sure that I requested rides so that she would be my driver. I know you can't do. You could maybe engineer it in such a way when she's on. When you see who gives you a ride, you throw in a cancel or something like that. That's somehow even creepier, but I think that that's almost a similar analogy. But I don't necessarily think like I don't think this is an everybody sucks here. I think nobody is an asshole. This is the plot to You on Netflix, literally. Well, I've never seen it. Great minds think alike. I think this is a no assholes here situation. Surprisingly, you might be surprised that we start like a spicy one that's not that spicy, but I think this is a no assholes here, honestly. I just got to figure out how to use Google Chrome again. Oh no, dude, don't get me started on this, okay? Don't get me started on this. We already had the anti-natalist post on the subreddit, and now you got me on, am I the asshole for not going to my sister's child-free wedding? Come on. I went to bed last night. When I was in bed, I checked the subreddit, and there was a post that was like, and I didn't even see how it went down, but there was a post made like 15 minutes ago that was like, NL has mentioned the anti-natalist community a few times in the past. I want to show you something that says we're not actually edgelords. And then as soon as I saw the post, I was like, by the time I wake up, this shit is going to be nuked 100%. And I had the soundest sleep of my life. I woke up and checked the subreddit. It was already gone. Never in my life have I had the radar trigger of like, this thing's not built for this world. More so than that. But anyway, am I the asshole for not going to my sister's child-free wedding? I don't want to ruin our relationship by doing this, and I don't want her to get upset over it, but I also don't think I'm being such the asshole. My 30s, so he's 30, he's a male in his 30s, his sister's also in her 30s, is having her wedding at the tail end of October, and she's decided, understandably, she doesn't want any children to be at the wedding, which is perfectly fine. So this is like more, like we've had a lot of these come up in the past. Is this like a new thing? Like child-free weddings are maybe taken off. Don't get me wrong, I can understand like why you wouldn't want kids at your wedding. It's just I mean where we fell on this the last time was that if you don't want any kids at your wedding, you've also got to understand that if you invite people who have kids, especially young kids, they might not be able to go. You're putting a little bit more onus on them, but anyway. This, however, she's having a child-free wedding, which is perfectly fine. However, I won't be attending. I have 3 young children, 7, 5, and 3. As you can imagine, it's hard to find a babysitter for them on a normal day. And even if I only went to the reception, it'd be hard to find someone to watch them for such a long time. Plus, I don't want to leave the kids. I would have to buy a tux and drive over 3 hours to get to the venue, and it just isn't worth it. As you can imagine, considering that I'm posting here, my sister is very angry because of it. She thinks I'm being selfish and just using the kids as an excuse not to go. We did get into a big fight about it, and we're both angry about it now. I mean, I do feel like maybe this is, I need some more information on this one. I don't know what I would ask yet, but I mean, you kind of know where I am on this one. I like, and this comes in all the time. I actually like that we get these, like, am I the asshole threads where people disagree. I think it's healthy that we, simulate like a disagreement here in a healthy environment, and then we, kiss and make up and everybody's happy about it. The thing I would say is that it's really tough, right? Like we went through this the last time we did it as well. But I think you have the right to do your wedding however you want to do your wedding. If you want to do a destination wedding in the middle of the Sahara Desert, you and your spouse can make that decision for yourselves. You could have a $100 wedding at City Hall. You could have a $100,000 wedding in the Palace of Versailles or something. I think you're well within your rights there. Your wedding, your rules. It's the classic am I the asshole principle. However, and you knew it was coming, I'm getting called out, every other person that you invite to the wedding also has to make a judgment call based on the parameters that you've presented. So if you have a destination wedding and you're dead set on having it in, Cabo San Lucas or something like that, you're going to end up with people that are like, I don't really know if I want to spend like $600 on flights and, a grand on hotels, et cetera, to Cabo San Lucas. I don't want to go to the Sahara Desert, or maybe, you know what, we've been friends forever. We could totally go. Now, keep in mind, I don't have siblings, right? So this is it's a bit of a tough one for me because I don't have like really anyone in my life for whom I think it's just standard that you're gonna have to be at their wedding. Like it's just assumed. I guess putting myself in the shoes of the brother, I think I would just be like, it sucks to have to get a babysitter. It's not that bad to have to get a tux. At that point, that's just part of adult life. Like, what are you gonna be? Oh, someone in your life dies, and you're like, thanks a lot, great Uncle Lee. Now I gotta go get a damn suit, you selfish dickhead. So I think if I put myself in their shoes, I think you just gotta kind of eat it and go to your sister's wedding because it's your sister's wedding. She might only have 6 or 7 of them, and the bubble of like her wedding, her rules. You're inside of that bubble within a reasonable sense. If you're her 7th cousin twice removed, you could be like, oh, sorry, we can't make it. But if you're the brother, if she's a bridezilla, you kind of got to take it because you're related, barring some kind of, insanity. I think it's just one of those things where if you've at least got the means, you kind of just got to accept it. That being said, I do also, I sympathize with the dad, quite frankly, because it's already like, this is the classic, like, you wouldn't understand. As a father, you wouldn't understand. But like, this puts a lot of stress. Like if I had to go to a wedding that I was like socially expected to be a part of, and either like take Kate and get a babysitter, or leave Kate at home with 3 kids for 12 hours where I'm perceived to go to a party that maybe I don't even really want to be a part of, that would cause some annoyance for sure at home. 3? Well, because there's 3 kids in the story here, finding a babysitter, like, I don't think it's necessarily like that hard, but it's not necessarily that easy either, especially during COVID. I think it's just a crappy situation. Again, it's her wedding, her rules. I do believe in that, but simultaneously, I am also like, the concept of a child-free wedding, I'm like, you're an adult, just get over it. Yeah, some people that you want to have to come to your wedding are going to have kids, Like they... you might hear them go, okay, fucking get over it, loser. It's not, you don't think you're going to get like 6 mojitos in you and you're going to start going, woo! Anyway, you're all going to be making the same dumbass noise. Get over yourself. But anyway, I do think that it's, I don't think she's the asshole, at least. I'll give you that one. I think that he is the asshole in this situation. I hate to say it because I do kind of agree with him, but I do think that he is the asshole. It pained me to say because I was really going to come into that one and be like, definitely not the asshole. What is +2? +2 is when chat agrees with you. This ad, have you ever stayed at a haunted hotel? These people have. The ads are getting crazy, man. They're going nuts. It's like a video advertisement for a TV show. I'm going to get DMCA'd by the TNE network, which I think is a Canadian network, but anyway. Am I the asshole for giving the room I promised to give to my daughter to her stepsister instead? By the way, Hafu, like, the headline, you can't judge just based on the headline because sometimes they're worded in such a way that it's like deliberately seems like they're the asshole and then not the asshole. This one, on the other hand, there's a little bit of spice. Haha, I read Reddit too. Okay, you didn't know what +2 was, so I was just trying to make sure we were all on the same page, okay? Am I the asshole for giving the room I promised to give to my daughter to her stepsister instead? I have two daughters, Bio, 16, and stepdaughter. Kind of a weird name, but, you know, like your family, your rules, I guess. Despite them being completely different, they get on just fine. My stepdaughter is a very private kid. Nothing wrong with that. Shep just likes to be given space and privacy. We used to live in a small 2-bedroom apartment. Kind of still. And I hate to get bogged down in the weeds. Do you kind of live there, or is your new place also kind of a small 2-bedroom? Is this like I used to live there? Well, I still do, but I used to too. Or is it like, did you move, but your place is still kind of small? Anyway, small 2-bedroom apartment where both my daughters shared one room. We recently bought our first house, which has 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a spacious yard. Just for the record, and I'm already like, you're the asshole, but it's just for judgmental reasons. Like, why are you using a short form of bathroom that's BTHR? Why don't you just use 2BATH? Like, it's the same number of letters. Nobody uses BTHR. And 4-bedra? Like, I'm not trying to be like super anal about it. I'm just like, you don't pay by the letter. Maybe they're on their phone. And this is a long thing to type out on the phone, man. Anyway, in the spacious yard, my daughter had her eyes set on the second biggest room and wanted to have it. She said it's spacious, well lit, comfortable with a nice view. Seeing that she's got good grades and because I couldn't get her the birthday present she wanted, I thought her promising the room would be the perfect makeup for my debts to her. We still haven't officially moved into the house, but my daughter's been excited to decorate the room like she imagined it. All right, so far, this is almost irredeemable. You are for sure the asshole based on paragraph 1. Then the issue came up and turned this whole argument upside down. It started when my daughter kept pestering her stepsister to show her what she wrote in her new private journal. My stepdaughter refused since it's private. I didn't know about this happening until my stepdaughter told me and my wife that my daughter took pictures of what was in her journal and posted it on her Instagram account for everyone to see. What? That's pretty bad. I was stunned, kept thinking how and why the hell my daughter would do such thing. My stepdaughter told us about her stepsister pestering her for days about seeing this new journal. I asked my daughter directly. She said she was seeking advice to make sure her stepsister's over need for privacy was healthy by having her expert friends read the context and analyze her personality. Help me, stepsauce, I'm stuck. I lost my temper and told her she was wrong after she said she wanted to help her sister see that it's okay to talk to others. I told her this stuff is highly personal, no one's entitled to read it, much less publish it online. I told her she had no respect for her sister's privacy and that the room she wanted so badly is going to her sister instead. My daughter didn't take it well. She began crying, begging me to punish her in some other way and called me awful for refusing to reconsider. She reminded me I promised to let her have that room and then I lied to her. She called my sister-in-law and said by giving the room to my stepdaughter, my daughter will hate her and the relationship will go downhill over it, but I was clear I wasn't changing my mind. It's been some time, and my daughter hasn't stopped crying about wanting the room back since I owed her. Man, okay, well, this is tough. This one really comes down to like, it's just a parenting judgment call, right? My first hunch, I think I'm really guilty of almost being like too much of a King Solomon with this stuff. It's like my natural inclination is like, you promised her the room. My personal thinking is that you should punish her in a different way than taking the room away from her. You know, that I feel like it would be more fair to give a punishment that's like, you know, a more traditional punishment, grounding, taking away, you know, cellular devices or something like that, as opposed to, or you could also just post her journal on Instagram as well. That's the King Solomon way. Or you could cut the room in half. That's true. You get the King Solomon decision is to just cut everything in half. Posting her journal is not King Solomon. That's the code of Hammurabi. I'm more of a King Solomon type of guy. Cut her journal in half. That's one way to do it as well. So I think that it would have been better parenting as someone who's basically just living it in my mind's eye, and hasn't been through raising a teenager. So it's very easy to say without putting it into practice. But I feel like there's a better punishment that doesn't seem like cruel and unusual. Like this is like why we have like a court system to handle disputes, right? Is like there's a code, and when you break the law, they don't look at your situation and be like, oh, you really love your car, huh? Well, because you engaged in armed robbery, we're going to like smash the shit out of your car with the sledgehammer in front of you. They put you in jail, or they give you a community service or a fine or restitution or something like that. They don't find like what you love the most and are looking forward to and like rip it away from you, okay? So that's my 2 cents. That being said, I also putting myself in the shoes of the father, which is a kick-ass piece of Dark Souls loot. I feel like it's really hard to go back on a punishment after you've decided it. This is more drawing on like my teaching experience. But there are times like as a teacher, some kid, you're like, hey, stop like smacking another kid on the top of the head. And then you catch them smacking the kid on the top of the head again, and you're like, get the fuck out of here, go to the principal's office, and they start to cry. And you're like, you know what? That is probably a punishment that's not commensurate with the actual grievance. But you can't be like, oh, sorry, just go sit down, because then they don't learn the lesson. Sometimes you just got to be like, I probably shouldn't have gone that hard, but at the same time, it's to reinforce a principle that's more important than making sure the punishment fits the crime exactly. So it's tough. Yeah, there you go. Fine her the maximum allowable salary to lose under the NBA and NBA Players Association guidelines. What's that, like $5,000? I would say, I do think this is an everybody sucks here, honestly. I think there's some gimmies, okay? The daughter sucks, but she's also 16 or 15, 16. The same rules that apply to like young offenders in the legal system, I think apply to Am I the Asshole? Just about, most teenagers probably have one asshole move on a daily basis. That's just life. I'm not saying that she should do it, but your brain is still developing. You should know right from wrong, but things go, like hither and thither. The father is an adult, but honestly, I feel like he didn't really go that far over the line. Like he definitely like took a shot. He did true damage psychologically with his punishment, but his daughter did do like a real nasty thing. I still think that she should probably have been punished in a different way, but I think that he had to, set the tone and the lesson that this was like a terrible thing to do, and you got to face like a real cost for that. That being said, I'm also not... Oh, when she said, look, I was just making sure that my stepsister's over need for privacy was healthy by having my expert friends read the context and analyze her personality. That's the kind of lie that you pull out when you think that your parents are brain dead. It's one of the least convincing lies I've ever heard in my entire life. It's just absolute idiocy and insulting to honestly be brought up. But, look, the daughter did an asshole move. Is she an asshole? I can't say that legally. She's under the legal age to be tried as an adult, except for like particularly nasty murders, in which case I would have an easier time passing judgment. Daughter did an asshole move. The dad, I'm going to say not the asshole. And I had to walk it through. I'm stunned that Judge Judy can rule so quickly. She does like 2 cases an episode. I originally was like, you're the asshole, your punishment did not fit the crime. But now I'm like, yeah, but the crime like really sucked. The punishment probably hurts the daughter that got the punishment less than the stepdaughter was hurt by the thing the daughter did in the first place. I think this is reasonable. I'm going to say not the asshole. And I'm very interested to see. Not the asshole. 48%. Can I tell you, though, that as we've gotten deeper into Reddit, it used to be like, I'm so glad I'm part of the consensus opinion. Now I'm like, oh no, I agree with the Redditors. Is this okay? And I want to approach the situation with fresh eyeballs because it's a little scary for me. But anyway, there's been some good ones here. There's been some meat for discussion. I love an everybody sucks here. Am I the asshole for getting pissed my wife missed open enrollment for benefits? Let's see. My wife carries health insurance for me and her through her job. She makes more money and offered to do this so that I could afford. Yeah, okay, you're not the asshole for getting pissed. That's a kind of a big deal. Okay. Anyway, my wife carries health insurance for me and her through her job. She makes more money and offered to do this so I could continue to pay the majority of our bills after getting a job that pays less than the one I used to have. She received notice their company's open enrollment period was starting 3 weeks ago and that it ended yesterday. This morning, she told me she just realized she never did the enrollment, so we're going to be losing our insurance, medical, dental, and vision. Now, here's where I might be the asshole when she told me I exploded. I am on 3 medications for my mental health that I just can't stop taking, and I was really scared. I got pissed. How could she miss something so important? I handle all of our other bills. I make sure the rent is paid, and I make sure our lights, phone, and internet stay on. How can she miss this when it puts me in a very dangerous health predicament? I screamed at her for just laying in bed crying instead of trying to find a solution. That's where you might have crossed the line, I think. I might have, if you wanted some pats on the back, I probably would have left that part out of the post, but at least they're being honest. I screamed at her for just laying in bed crying instead of trying to find a solution. I slammed some doors, and I was just generally kind of rude as I got my shit together and left to go help a friend with something I told him I'd help him with last week. My wife is wonderful and does suffer from ADHD, and it was clear she felt like shit for forgetting, but I couldn't help but be hurt, scared, and angry, so am I the asshole for yelling at her? Edit, because a lot of people are saying it should just roll over. I am 100% certain that information isn't the case in our situation. She's been at the company for a very long time. They've always had this policy. The insurance selections are just for the coverage year, and they do not roll over if you do not renew your selections. This is the easiest one of all time. Everybody sucks here. I know already what's going to be said in chat about this. But like, there's, especially as you get older, you take on more responsibility. There's like important stuff that you just have to do. You can make a mistake, don't get me wrong. And it happens. But, like you gotta stay enrolled in your benefits plan. I don't know. That seems like the sort of thing where like, maybe it's too easy, but like if you just had a calendar or like some reminders or like, I don't know, had someone like put a gun to your head and be like, just click the checkbox, please. Like it seems like if this is something that you don't have to do, I feel like you absolutely have to make sure that you got to do it. Admittedly, this is a little foreign to me. I mean, we do still have private insurance in Canada. Like your pharmacy is not covered, your dental and vision's not covered. Like your healthcare, basic doctor's visits, mandatory surgeries and hospital visits are covered and stuff like that. But people still have benefits from their employers and stuff like that. Regardless, though, I'm like, maybe I can't put myself in her shoes, admittedly, but I'm like, you just gotta. I I know that I'm. You ever see that video where like, or not video, but that tweet where people use it as a reaction image to reply to people who are like, oh, I had depression too until like I got some sun and then started lifting weights and now I'm the happiest I've ever been. And it's just like a bit crushed image of a graph. And then the headline on the bottom is like, worldwide depression rate goes to 0. So I do understand that maybe, as someone who doesn't have ADHD, I'm like, couldn't you have just signed in when you got the prompt at the first? Couldn't you just done it right there? And if you didn't do it there, like put something on the calendar. But I'll admit that maybe, I just can't put myself in those shoes. But I've got to judge from my own personal bias to some extent as well. Regardless, he's also the asshole. Like, I mean, I can understand. I would be upset too. There's no question there. But I mean, when your wife is laying in bed crying, like if you ever have an argument that like gets to that point, that should probably like be your cue to get off the gas pedal a little bit and not continue. And especially don't scream at her for laying in bed crying. Like that's, I mean, I'm laughing just because it's so horrible, but like, has that ever worked in the history of humans interacting ever? It's like, why are you so upset? Get up and fix the problem. And she's going to be like, okay. Oh, yeah, you're right. My bad. My wife is wonderful, by the way. Okay. I mean, yeah, I got to see the comments on this one. I mean, not for more info. I'm okay saying everybody sucks here. And, if that makes me the YTA for not taking the wife into account, then so be it. Let me post open the comments here. Let me see what we got. Everybody sucks here. You reacted horribly. That's not okay. She made a mistake and didn't deserve that sort of reaction. Surprisingly reasonable. Not the asshole. The people who are saying everyone sucks here are just willfully ignoring how huge of a deal this is to suddenly not have health insurance. His reaction was completely normal for her level of fuck up. Forget his medication. If either of them has a serious accident during the gap in coverage, their lives could be ruined. Look, here's the thing. I think it depends on how you look at a disagreement like this. And I disagree with this comment, just to be clear from the start. But like, are you gonna communicate with your spouse when they make a mistake so that it doesn't happen again? Or are you gonna be like, I'm upset, so I'm owed this much, this much anger in my response, if that makes sense? I mean, again, I'm arguing from the point as if like either of them has complete control of the way that they approach the interaction. But like if something's already happened and you can't go back in time and fix it, are you just being like, well, you've wronged me, so I'm gonna be, I have a good reason to be very upset with you? Or are you gonna, which is really like just screaming unproductively in my opinion, or do you want to like try to work productively to find a solution? Also, I know, look, this is like it's punching down, but like when you're in your 30s, you have like an argument with somebody, like it just reflects badly on you to start slamming doors and then leaving. But maybe again, this is something that I just, I guess I can't relate to. Not the asshole. She fucked up big time. Also, when he said he screamed at her and was slamming doors, he then had a comma and said like, and was generally kind of rude. I think that crosses the line beyond kind of rude, personally. I have anger issues. It's not that simple. Like, I'm genuinely sympathetic to that. Take it from somebody who is, He'd gone off at Dan on stream. But like simultaneously, I'm not sure how you're supposed to react in these situations with that in mind. Nobody sucks here. Everybody's nice because, she has ADHD and he has anger problems. So the fact that they, are in a toxic and combustible situation and OP is asking if they're the asshole, even then we're like, actually, they all did their best. Like this is clearly not a great situation. Not the asshole. She fucked up big time. You're scared and vulnerable. I agree. It's only human for you to lose your senses for a moment. Believe it or not, I actually agree with that. You can't control when you get upset, but it doesn't sound like he had like 30 seconds where he said something he regrets. It sounds like it went on for a long time. In an ideal world, you would have kept your cool, and you should always try not to freak out. Seeing you question your behavior already, I think you calm down and are trying to resolve this as calmly as possible by having a conversation with Reddit instead of talking to your wife. I'd like to see all these people sitting on their high horses. You should never scream. If you found yourself in a position where your partner just fucked up your access to healthcare, especially when they're already in need of medication, demanding calmness in such a situation is just delusional. He yelled at her in panic because there's a fucking Cheeto in the White House. That's not abuse. It's just a human reaction. Now, in spite of the diction that I took there, I kind of agree that, some anger makes sense. Not that it's reasonable, but that it makes, I think it actually is reasonable. But, simultaneously, the way that it's written just annoys me, which is fine. Everyone sucks here, but you do owe your wife an apology. I think that's fine. You know what I realize? Like, for a lot of people, and I'm not just saying Reddit, but for a lot of people, any response, even if the amplitude of the response is much greater in magnitude than the initial slight, any response is warranted if somebody else started it. Like if somebody cut you off in traffic and you killed them, they would be like, this is a tough one. It's not a tough one. It's very simple. If someone cuts you off in traffic, you don't have like, oh, you got one on me, now I'm going to get one on you and I'm going to make it worse. What you do is you simply get really angry, make your whole family uncomfortable, tail the car like way too close, even though they don't even know that they cut you off. And then like when you get the chance, like maybe they're in the passing lane, fucking slam on the gas, pass them on the right while looking at them like this the whole time. And then get in front of them and slam on the brakes a little bit. You don't just kill them. You make them crash into the back of your car, ruining both of your, years potentially. Anyway, I think this is an everybody sucks here. Don't get me wrong. I would be mad for sure. Like I would genuinely be upset. I would be like, you had to fill out a form. And this makes me an asshole, admittedly. I'm not seeing things from her side at all. But I'm like, you had to fill out a form. You had 3 weeks and you didn't do it. That's fine. Let's just hear why. I would be an asshole in a different way, for sure. I would be like, that's funny, because like I saw you watch 6 episodes of The White Lotus last night. You think possibly you could have watched 5.75 episodes of The White Lotus and filled out the form with that extra 15 minutes or something? Oh, no worries, though. I'll just try not to have a serious health concern in the next 12 months. But it's exactly like how he talks to Dan about audio. It is. It is. By the way, like I know people are like, this wouldn't be a problem in Canada. This could totally be a problem in Canada without stretching, the bounds of realism too much. This is the same thing. Like if somebody just neglected to file their taxes, they could be unenrolled from the provincial healthcare service and run into like a serious snafu as a result of that. And it's way harder to do your taxes than it is to, I'm assuming at least, than to like enroll in this. But yeah, it could absolutely happen. A Business Goose 69. Thanks for the gifted subs. Thank you. But then people are like, oh, but the taxes are different. You got to do your taxes. The enrollment stuff, I don't know. That doesn't, anyway, whatever. That being said, I feel like it should be like open. Like it should just roll over your enrollment. But regardless. Let's find another one. I'm just navigating back. Am I the asshole for refusing to contact a restaurant about an unwanted curry? Is this not literally like we talked about this? I'll just, before I even put it up on the screen, I'll put it up, but before I read it, I'll just tell you, we've done this before, and I talked about it. If DoorDash sends me food I didn't ask for, like more food on top of the food that I originally ordered, dead prawns tell no tales. I'm keeping it. When I ordered the food, I didn't ask for a job. Where now I've got to be the steward of this food and make sure that the humble DoorDash corporation knows where to. Because it's not like the One Ring, you could just, DoorDash could just refund the other driver or refund the other customer. And they'd probably prefer that, honestly, as opposed to getting like, I don't even know if there's a process for giving the food back, if that makes sense, and then getting it to its real destination. But, I think if someone was like, oh, your food got lost, it'll take an hour to get there, I'd be like, nah, man, just give me the refund. Anyway, my girlfriend is making me feel fucking insane right now, so I need a reality check ASAP before I explode. My girlfriend came over to dinner at my apartment. Well, how old are you? My girlfriend, age, came over to dinner at my age apartment tonight, and we ordered Thai. Oh, Jack talked Thai. Jack talked Thai very well. When we got it, there was a curry dish that neither of us ordered. I double-checked the receipt, and I wasn't charged for it, so I was like, sweet, free food. She told me I should call the restaurant, and I said, fuck that, they're fuck up. Why should I spend a second thinking about it? I'm just going to say, and maybe you're in a different kind of relationship, it's kind of like aggressive wording. Like, it's just a little too, like, it's just sharp. Like, it even though I agree with the principle, it kind of offends me just hearing it. It's Crashmore. He took the Crashmore pill. Fuck that. They're fuck up. Why should I spend a second thinking about it? Bullshit. And she said the curry could be for someone else's and that they could fix the mistake if I called. I told her she was being ridiculous and that if someone didn't get their fucking what the hell is wrong? They didn't get their fucking curry, they could call the restaurant themselves, and that it wasn't my problem. She got all pissy and said I had a moral obligation. I'm not kidding, semicolon. Those are the exact words she used, colon, moral obligation to let the restaurant know. This post was brought to you by Charles Bukowski. I told her that she had to be kidding, but if she wanted to call a restaurant, she was more than fucking welcome to. She obviously didn't do that because who the fuck would, and just sulked, ate quickly, and left. I can't imagine why. I think she's off her fucking rocker. But I'm here to ask the moral philosophers on this sub if informing the restaurant about a fuck up is actually a moral obligation. Quick answers preferred, because if I'm the asshole, which I sincerely doubt I am, obviously, I'll apologize. Update, last night while I was in the middle of writing another defensive comment here, I realized how pathetic I was being, arguing with strangers on the internet instead of actually being with my girl, who I love to death. I called her and apologized. Told her she was right about the whole thing and that I acted like a complete dick. She said she was sorry and that she felt I had backed her into a corner with my initial reaction and that she was just being stubborn. We're both stubborn people, so I completely get it. We laughed at the moral obligation comment and that was it. We're all good now. I completely agree with, I just saw it in chat. Somebody said, not the asshole, but the asshole. It's like you're not the asshole for refusing to contact the restaurant about the unwanted curry, but you were the asshole for the way that you spoke to your girlfriend and also the way that you wrote the post is just dripping with asshole energy, top to bottom. I'm not anger. I'm not anger. I'm not angry about the amount of F words. I don't get offended necessarily by, cursing. My favorite comedian is not Brian Regan. But just they carry a certain kind of tone. If someone asks you to do something and you use the F word like 4 times in your reply, it basically what you're saying is you're a fucking idiot for ever asking me to do that in the first place. I'm smarter than you. How could you be so dumb as to ever suggest that in the first place? Why don't you do it if you want it done so fucking bad? Why don't you do it yourself then? Like it's just it makes you seem like a piece of garbage. He could be swearing politely. My girlfriend told me I should call the restaurant. I said, fuck that. It's their fuck up. Why should I spend even a second thinking about it? It's tone, you know? Tone doesn't come well through text, but if you really put some sauce on it, I guess. I don't want anyone to have the worst day at their boyfriend's house ever, by the way. Do any of those fucking curries ever pop out the fucking bag with like a huge refund? And, it's just very uncomfortable, right? She obviously didn't do that because who the fuck would just sulked? Women, right? Ate quickly and left. It's not a big deal. I just insinuated that the thing you asked me to do was the dumbest thing you've ever had in your entire life. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. And she's going to get all pissy about it. His words, not mine. She got all pissy. You know what you should have done? And it's easy to say in hindsight. Instead of making it butting heads, I feel like you should have looped her in like you guys had just done a heist. You could have been like, well, we could call the restaurant. I agree. That would be like the nice thing to do. On the other hand, isn't it true that a stolen curry tastes the sweetest? And then you could be like, oh, we're so bad. And then you got and then for years in the future, you've got this, anytime you illegally park or something, you could be like, hey, you knew you were dating a bad boy as soon as we got that stolen curry. And then she'd be like, oh, you'd have this little shared history going on instead of like, what the, he said that? He's not killing me. It's just, there's so many different ways you could have spun what an actually like good thing is into like the positive that it actually is. Instead, you got free food, and it's Thai curry. That's kind of expensive, man. You got a free Thai curry, street value, 12 USD or higher, I would say, and then you turned it into a fight. You're like the worst alchemist that's ever existed. All because what? She insinuated you make a phone call? Come on, man. It's too much. Okay, we got a few more left in us, but I will go to We Want Plates. I promise you. There's a couple. I know you're like, move on, but there's a couple really good ones. Like, I got to see how this one works, okay? Am I the asshole for making my daughter move her cat's litter boxes into her bedroom? Helpful award. A few months ago, my daughter finally convinced my husband and I to let her get a cat. 3 cats, specifically. Okay, that's a lot to start with. They were kittens together and came as a package, and she said she really wanted them. We've only ever had a dog, but we were willing to give this a try as long as she promised to take care of them. In most respects, she's done a great job. She always feeds them, plays with them every day, and she seems to get along with them really well. The only problem's been the litter box. We honestly never expected this to be the issue when it came to cats, since our daughter takes the dog for walks all the time and has never complained about picking up dog poop. But she absolutely hates cleaning the litter box. When I asked her why, she said it smells nothing like dog poop and is a far worse, more nauseating smell. It is. Like, cat urine, especially, smells really bad. but like, it's not like that's a secret. It's not like when you bought the cats, you were like, oh, wait, this one, the piss smells horrible. Which does seem to be true. The vet told us everything's normal. Even a couple of cat-owning friends who had been over said it smells like exactly any other cat droppings they've come across. Recently, my daughter started forgetting to clean the litter box, and the smell fills the house impressively quickly when unattended. I cut her some slack and chalked it up to her busy schedule, and often found myself having to clean it, but it became more of a regular occurrence. Finally, I overheard her on a conversation with her boyfriend where she admitted she'd been forgetting on purpose for a few weeks to get out of the chore, and I decided enough was enough. This is the part where I have to imagine it all goes off the rails. She came home from school the next day to find that all 4 litter boxes. I thought there was like, so this is good. The rule of thumb, because we dealt with like, some inappropriate peeing and pooping from the cats. The rule of thumb, if your cats for them to be as like comfortable as possible, you get the number of cats equals the number of litter boxes plus 1. Let me rephrase. If you have 3 cats, you get 4 litter boxes. The formula for litter boxes is just X plus 1. But moving all 4 into one bedroom, I have to imagine that's just a very potent array of smells. Is that she moved all 4 into the bedroom. I sat her down and had a talk about how this was unacceptable and that the consequence would be that the boxes would be moved for 1 week to a location where she couldn't ignore the smell. I was surprised how strong her reaction was. She got really angry and started begging me not to make her do that and how it was such a cruel punishment. She'd learned her lesson and would clean it from now on. I said we could move the boxes back out after she proved that she could clean them for a week, but this was how things were going to be for now. I also told her that she's not grounded, but she will have to sleep in there. No more sleeping on the couch to avoid it. Remember when I was talking about how, like, if somebody slights you or if there's a perceived action that is your expense, you have to reply, like, with a nuclear bomb to make sure that it never happens again, apparently. This is, like, the exact situation. Well, let's finish it first, though. She's not been talking to me since I've instituted this and acts like it's a horrific form of torture, but I see it as a fair consequence learning opportunity. Was that too harsh or appropriate? Am I the asshole? I would say, sorry, scroll. I would say, again, every single one of these is the victim of what I would call a false dilemma, which is always like, am I the asshole? There's only 2 options, right? One option is just let her get away with never cleaning the litter box. And then, your daughter has power over you in the house, and then your wife loses respect for you, and, 6 years from now, you're sleeping on a race car bed like Milhouse's dad. The other option is you hit her with, like, a fucking jigsaw trap where you're like, oh, you thought, you stopped cleaning the litter box. The smell was overpowering. Well, let's see how the smell is now that all the litter boxes have surrounded you. Like, why can't you just... Is there not like a middle ground where you can just be like having a conversation with somebody, maybe? You could just have a conversation with people and then be like, hey, I heard you talking to your boyfriend about how you don't clean the litter box. Could you please clean the litter box? And then if she doesn't clean the litter box, then you can go, I'm going to put one of them in your room or something like that. I don't know why it always has to be like such a creative punishment. And the other thing, I know we talked about this earlier, but the other thing that I got is like, why can't you just put all 4 litter boxes in her room, have this conversation with her, and then when she says, I'll beg you, like I'm begging you not to give me this punishment, then just take them out and be like, okay, but don't forget. Like, you've convinced me, but at the same time, if you're on thin ice. Once you commit, she's 17. Yeah, once you commit to a punishment like this, I know I said you don't want to go back on it, but I mean, there's a little bit of a difference between like, posting your sister's diary on Instagram and then lying about it and just being a little derelict with the cats. Don't get me wrong, she should be cleaning the litter box, but she is also in a situation where the buck doesn't stop with her. If the dad will keep doing it, then it's not like it reflects badly on the cats. I can understand the dad's position, don't get me wrong. But anyway. Also, 3 cats from the get-go is a little much. But not the asshole is 39%. I already know we're in your house, your rules territory, but okay. I think we got one more. Oh man. I think we got one more in this. I don't know. I mean, it's a tough one. Your house, your rules, man. I think if your house, your rules, am I the asshole is like the most boring shit of all time. Because about 50% of them are about weddings. And then the other 50% are like, I pay the mortgage, but somebody's doing something that I don't like. Am I the asshole? And people are like, well, you did say you're paying the mortgage, which I think makes you a petty king. By the way, speaking of the breakdown of 50-50, am I the asshole for not wanting to pay for my wedding? Throwaway, so it sounds bad, but hear me out. Me and my girlfriend just got engaged. I've always said I don't want a wedding. She knows that. But now she wants to have a wedding, which I am very much against. I don't like weddings at all. They're a waste of time and they're a waste of money, in my humble opinion. Hey, thank you for the gifted subscriptions. Thank you. But she insists on having one. I'm trying to say the name, but I like cereal. Thank you. He's not wrong, by the way. Waste of money? Probably. Depends on how much you value the day, I guess. Waste of time? Absolutely. But she insists on having one. She says she's always planned this moment. I doubt that because this is the first time I'm hearing of it. So I did some research to see how much a wedding would cost. So it would cost $60 to $80K in total for what she wants. Now, we can afford that. We both make like $100K a year. No, weird flex, but no big deal. A very bold move on am I the asshole for putting that you're part of the 1%. I'm not saying you should misrepresent where you stand. I'm merely saying that sometimes a lie of omission can benefit you in a situation like this. I did some research. It's going to cost $60 to $80K, no problem. I'm not comfortable throwing down that much money on one day. That's a brand new car. Yes, okay. Some people might think it's maybe a couple, but sure. Or a down payment for a house money. Well, look. You live in a place with expensive cars and relatively cheap houses, but anyway. Is a one-day party worth our future security? Therefore, I decided to compromise with her. Instead of a full fat wedding, we'd have an informal party with friends and family. This could be accomplished for a third of the cost. For example, a bouquet costs $50 to $80 at most. Wedding flowers are like $150 to $200. But no, she's dead set on having a traditional wedding. That way she can have a party, and we don't need expensive... This way she can have a party. We don't need expensive white gowns that will only be worn once. I'm just laughing at of all the... when it comes to weddings, and again, we did ours like at a restaurant with like 8 people. It was insanely economical, and I'm very thankful that my wife and I were on the same page for that. When I think of the wedding cost, venue, renting the venue, very expensive. Catering, very expensive. Overall outfitting with flowers, very expensive. Clothing, expensive. I don't really look at the cost of a single bouquet purchased in the private market versus a wedding bouquet specifically. I feel like he's missing DJ and band. There you go. I feel like he's missing. Despite researching it, I still think he's about this is a situation where a guy sees that he's going to be really upset about the money. But he doesn't realize that it's not like one knockout punch when you find out how much the total's going to be. He's about to get dummied with combinations over and over. If he's already sweating the bouquet, wait until you hear that it's probably going to cost you minimum $50 per guest times 100 people just to have it catered, plus paying the servers, paying the bartender, et cetera, et cetera. Like, and you're just getting started at this point. Like, and it's just gonna keep coming, man. Anyway, so I'm at my wit's end, and I tell her we can have a wedding if she can pay for it. This absolutely pissed her off. I can't imagine why. Oh, man. This absolutely pissed her off. She called me a cheapskate. I mean, fair enough, but I'd rather put that money towards our house or a retirement fund or even a kick-ass vacation together. But she doesn't. This person has no idea what things cost. What is $60,000? Is it a car? Is it 20% of a house? Is it the most insane vacation that's ever existed? Like, it probably costs less than like what professional athletes spend when they go on vacation. This is almost like, you know, how much could a banana cost? $60,000? Like, it's just weird, okay? By the way, I'm not saying that he should pay for the wedding, even though they're making a lot of money. If he doesn't want a wedding, he doesn't have to get a wedding. Like, I'm not saying just because you're making good money, you know, you're obligated to spend 80 grand on your wedding. That's just asinine. I would have an issue with it as well. It's just the way that he argues. I'm like, you're not making any damn sense. Yeah, you know what this is great? It's Bill Gates on Price is Right energy. It's like you're asking Bill Gates how much like a flat screen TV is. He's probably going to be like, it's $15,000. If you ask him how much like a Toyota Camry is, he's probably going to be like $8,000. I don't know. I don't think he's going to be able to figure it out. He has no frame of reference, and you have no frame of reference either. $60,000 is not the, you don't use that as it's a new car. That's like a nice car, or it could be a down payment. Yeah, like, not to be judgmental, but if your standard is a $60,000 car, your $60,000 down payment that equals 20% of the actual purchase price of a house is probably not going to be a house that's up to your standards. And then when you think a vacation is $60,000, I don't even know, like, are you going on vacation for a year or 2 years? He doesn't know how much things cost. If you're going to be cheap and rich, you should at least have a framework for how much things actually cost. His like personal anchors for how expensive items are all over the place. Okay. People are asking what our game plan was. Well, we always talked about going to the court thingy with a few witnesses and making it official without the traditional wedding. This started up after her sister's wedding. Maybe she had a change of heart. Some people are suggesting we have a smaller wedding for like $10K. We're Indian, so if there's going to be a wedding, it's going to have to be a big one, unfortunately, with all the relatives and everything. Hey, thanks for your suggestion. That it seems like a reasonable compromise. Unfortunately, it can't work because fuck you. Literally, our only two options are eloping to the courthouse or alternatively throwing a $100,000 wedding. Thanks for your suggestion. Have you considered that the obvious thing wouldn't work for me because we're built different? Anyway, we're reaching the point of React Court where I'm just being like ultimately judgmental. This is an honest question. I'm not suggesting they should just, this is just a shitty situation, okay? Like, they want different things. What do you want me to say? Who's the asshole? Nobody's the asshole. He's kind of the asshole to an extent. His wife wants a nice wedding. He wants to get married at the courthouse. Let's say more than a nice wedding. His wife wants like a 10 out of 10 wedding. He wants to get married at the courthouse. And then people were like, here's a compromise. And he said it wouldn't possibly work. Maybe he's right. Maybe he's not. But like, how are you supposed to come when two people want two different things? How are you supposed to come to a solution if there's no way for compromising? You know, I wouldn't necessarily say he's an asshole, but I certainly don't think that, he has like the moral high ground, even though I agree with his position 100%. What I will say, though, is that I do feel like one of my friends married into an Indian family, and he was telling me about the wedding. He said, like, there's a part of, and I'm sure it's different depending on, where it is, but he said part of the wedding, he goes on stage and he like sits there, and then his mother-in-law just feeds him like handmade candies and baked goods and stuff like that for like half an hour. And then Yep, that's real. That's cool. He was talking to like he had some insane like rehearsal requirements and stuff like that. Like it's a serious deal. That sounds like that would be the part I would look forward to the most for sure. All relatives, not just the mother-in-law. Man, that's crazy. They can take multiple days. That's wild. You know what? I bet they allow kids. Are you the asshole if you want to have a multi-day Indian wedding and not allow children? I would say yes at that point. That's too much. But I mean, this is just I don't even feel comfortable commenting on this situation. Like nobody's the asshole. Everybody wants two different things. Or they want two different things that are mutually exclusive. I know people were like, he's trying to compromise. He's not really trying to compromise. You know, she wants like a $80,000 wedding. He wants a $500 wedding. Well, it sounds like he wants a $100 wedding, and he's offering to have a wedding that costs like $1,000. That's not really a compromise. That's being like a mile away and taking 2 steps forward and being like, meet me here or else. And I'm also, there's only so many ways this could go, right? Like, you're either going to give her the $60,000 wedding. I mean, the way that I would see this going is like, I almost want to flip the script. And I'm like, if I could talk to the fiance in this situation, what I would say in this situation is throw a $50,000 wedding. But make him think that you gave him a sick deal, like he argued you into a place where you're like, fine, we'll use fake flowers. And then when that comes off the bill, he at least gets to keep he's not emasculated, right? You get 90% of what you want, and he gets to be like, I'm grumbling a little bit, but at least I managed to get a little off the top on the flowers, okay? You get to save a little face. That's the spirit of compromising. Here's the thing. People are like, I think you could flip the script on this one, okay? People are like, but spending this much money on a wedding is stupid. I completely agree, like 1,000%. Sometimes I'll be out, like going for a walk, and then I'll be like, oh, I should buy like a cold drink. And then I'm like, nah, I could buy like 1/4 of a share of VEQT for that instead. And then I just go the fuck home. Like, I'm cheap as hell, at least in some ways. So I completely understand where he's coming from. That being said, I'm also like, what if a guy made, well, I don't know. It's kind of complicated. Because I was going to be like, what if your wife wants a $500,000 house and you want a $200,000 house? I feel like when you put it into that position, people would be much more like, less about the compromise and more about splurging. That being said, a house is a better investment than a wedding. But simultaneously, the heart wants what it wants. Like if you want an $80,000 wedding, you're probably not going to be happy if instead you just get like a Camaro instead. Anyway, I don't know. It's tough. And here's the thing. I think this guy is just asking for like, he's like, hey, Reddit, can you give me like a cheat code to solve my problem? Like, I don't think that's the case. This is just a prickly situation that he finds himself in. I'm not saying he should just roll over and pay for like a $60,000 wedding. I'm saying like, Godspeed, my man, because you're in it to lose it here for sure. I don't see you winning this argument. It seems like the kind of argument where even if you win, you lose. I don't think there's any like one magic word that you could say that could make it happen, but OP should lawyer up, block her on social media. What would you do? I don't know. I'd probably just pay for the wedding. I wish I could sit here and be like, I would stick to my guns and find the perfect compromise. I would probably just like, complain about it for a little bit and then be like, okay, let's just do it and have fun. I'm not saying that's the best solution, but it would live in my mind forever, for sure. Like there's still stuff in my head. Like I was like, oh man, remember that time I went out for dinner in 2012 and I ordered the steak and then I added like 3 shrimp on top of it and the shrimp was $9, but I was like, hey, this will be nice. And then it was actually only like a 6 out of 10. That was like a $60 dinner and it was that kind of stuff sticks with me. But anyway, I can't stress enough. Like I completely agree with him, but I don't think it's the kind of situation. I mean, I guess he's not asking for a solution. He's just asking like who's in the right and who's in the wrong. And I'm like, I mean, what do you want me to say? I agree with you 100%, but also it's just a disagreement. You just want some validation. Can we? I got to see the comments here for a second. Everybody sucks here. This is one of those things where it should be easy to compromise. But telling her we can have a wedding if you pay for it is not a compromise. It's just an efficient way to destroy your marriage. Stop dismissing everything that's important to her as a one-day party and start working out. Oh, okay. I thought this was hit the gym, but actually it's like working out with with your verbal. Not the asshole. You're both entitled to a wedding. However, if you two can't figure it out, you two should not get married. The idea of you handle it alone is not how strong marriages last. That rings true for me. Everybody sucks here. You're both at two extremes. If you can't compromise, then don't get married. I'm not saying you have to have a wedding for a good marriage, but you do have to be willing to compromise. And I agree with this, okay? Because people in chat were like, he did compromise with a smaller wedding at 1/3 of the cost. He said that, but then his example was like, instead of buying flowers, you could just buy like a single bouquet. That's not like 1/3 of the cost. We're actually getting down to like 8% of the cost. Specifically, no outfits, having a party instead of actually having a wedding. He offered something completely different anyway. I mean, but I guess that, yeah, it's negotiation, right? He has to start by offering something in bad faith well below where he's actually willing to compromise too. Otherwise, he'd get blown out. I wouldn't want to spend that much money either. Completely agree. However, people have beautiful weddings for under 20K. And yeah, it was a full fat wedding with a reception and open bar and catering and everything. Everybody sucks here. It sounds like you could easily afford something under 20K together. Meet in the middle. Your fiance is unwilling to budge and you've given an extreme ultimatum. You're just two people not like great at communicating, I guess. I mean, it sucks if like she's unwilling to compromise completely, but also it does sound like he was like, what's the problem? We'll just throw a party. We'll get some chips from the grocery store. We can even get some champagne and then we can... In some ways, though, isn't two people unable to compromise means they like belong together, right? In my opinion, it's if you're unable to compromise, you should marry someone who's unwilling to compromise so that you both get punished. Compromisers should always marry other compromisers because then they both pay into the pot equally and share the spoils equally. Two people who are absolutely unwilling to budge whatsoever deserve each other, in my opinion. Anyway, that's the end of React Core 1. We had some good stuff today. I felt a kinetic energy. Trying something a little different today. We're going to be, for React Core, just having a laugh. Less judgmenting and more just having a laugh with the OP at a restaurant's expense. So we're at a subreddit here called... We Want Plates, and We Want Plates is for restaurants that serve food in unorthodox ways. I mean, you can see the About community. We Want Plates. Crusades against serving foods on bits of wood and roof tiles, chips in mugs, and drinks in jam jars. By the way, you ever feel like your computer's spying on you? We said the words OnlyFans like 20 times in the last React Court. Guess what our advertisement's for? You mining Bitcoins in there, you little shit? Friend of mine went to a restaurant and their starter came in a book. Okay. Is this is just pictures of the food to be what is okay, so there's like some pancetta or some is this a charcuterie board? Oh, okay, this is I understand what they're going for here. But also it seems like kind of I get what they're going for, but it seems kind of disgusting. Okay. So what appears to be happening here is sometimes and this happens, okay? You go out to a restaurant, you get charcuterie, they bring out the board and they hit you with an info dump. This is Tillamook cheddar cheese from Wisconsin. This is Casamarsa that we got from Sicily. This is blah, blah. This is Hungarian black pepper salami. And they're hitting you with yeah. And there's the din of the music. And you're like, I don't know what any of this stuff means to begin with in the first place. So the idea that you have, from Oregon, Tillamook from Oregon, I apologize. The idea that as you were like eating, you could follow what you were eating with some context could enhance the dining experience, but is absolutely disgusting that the meat is just wedged between pieces of paper and then like is greasing up a little, fat trap there. It's just, and even just, it's already gross to peel sticky pages, but then to peel sticky pages and eat the food that resides inside of it just seems very unappetizing to me. Like that peel is not satisfying. That's I give that a 0 out of 10, and may God have mercy on your soul. Can you just, and this is maybe a little too techie for dining, can you just have like an app? Like they already have the QR code menus at so many places. Can you just scan the QR code and it would give you like a list of the things you're eating, or they could bring you a piece of paper or something like that? I don't, like, why not just put the meat on like a traditional board and then bring like an info sheet or something? That's crazy. Or just bring the board. But anyway, friend's mother went to a restaurant and got a glass of pasta upside down. In every cook's life, I think you struggle with presentation. I've had some culinary sins before in my life. I used to sometimes marinate a steak in Budweiser, thinking that was like a really cool guy, sophisticated thing to do. Is like, oh, waste of beer marinating a steak. Shit beer turned into shit steak, honestly. One of the meals I cooked all the time in like my second year of college was like a chicken breast, slap it on the George Foreman grill, then salsa on top of the chicken breast, and then cheddar cheese on top of the salsa, and then just squeeze that George Foreman grill down as hard as I could. So I'm sure that I've done some questionable things when it comes to food and food presentation. This is just one of those things where you're like, why? I don't like any food where, like, to me, this just looks like a liability. Like, when you take the glass off, I'm worried that you'd have to make sure, like, that you got your hands ready so that the pasta doesn't go off of the board and onto the table. Like, I want you, part of the reason I'm at the restaurant is because I want you to, like, plate the food for me. It's a small part, but, like, at the same time, I don't want to be held responsible for something like this. I also I doubt that this could possibly do anything but be negative for the actual quality of the food. Like, I can't really see what we're looking at here. I'm assuming these are pine nuts, and this is perhaps some mozzarella. I don't know what that is. It's kind of hard to tell. But there's no way that these served deconstructed could possibly match up to what they're supposed to be when they're put together. You think it's just? I was thinking it was bread. I didn't want to make myself seem like so uncultured as to suggest that this was just like a weird breadstick. Also bad. Oh, it just looks. This is like what you serve in your college household when you're like, I want to do some cool presentation, but all I got is a bunch of cups that the previous tenants left us with. This is horrible. The juices dripped onto my legs through that nice crack in the board. So this is like a deconstructed burrito bowl or something, I think. Spring mix, rice, black beans, chicken breast, and like a half of a thick pineapple slice. Served on a board, which should already be annoying to eat because you know that this stuff is gonna, this is something designed to be like mixed in a bowl and then eaten, but then served on a board that has a hole in it on top of a table that is made of holes. Just, this is the kind of stuff that you see on the show like Bar Rescue, and you just go like, come on. Like you got to you have to have someone eat this at your restaurant before you put it on the menu. This is just like an awful experience. Pineapple also not peeled. Also, something that annoys me, like I don't mind when you have like a little garnish for presentation, but like if you're going to include, I don't know if this is like a balsamic reduction or something like that, like include enough that it actually has a meaningful impact. Like so much of it is lost on the wood to begin with, then on the pineapple you may or may not eat because it's not peeled anyway, and then just like a line lazily over the middle, like give your head a shake. So I finally found one that I think is funny, but it's not so bad. $12 gin and tonic. Served in a Subway ingredient tub, and it appears that they brought the tonic to the table and then you poured it in yourself. This is stupid, but at the very least, it's not like, I mean, at least it's a drink, I guess is what I'm saying. It's not like inedible just because of what they put it in. It's kind of dumb, but it doesn't offend me. It also doesn't interest me. But I know people I'm assuming this is America. Okay, so $12 is expensive to begin with. Canadian dollar is weaker, and also and Canadian alcohol taxes are higher, so alcohol is more expensive. But I would tell you that $12 Canadian is about what I would expect to see for a gin and tonic. Like, I mean, admittedly, I guess it's a mixed drink and not really like a cocktail. But if you look at the cocktail menu for like a sit-down restaurant, you're really looking at like, I would say above, if it's not happy hour, you're looking at above $9, $10 for pretty much everything. So the price doesn't offend me. The glassware is comical, but it at least it's not inedible as a result. My beef Guinness pie. This, on the other hand, is absolutely heinous for many reasons. Let me count the ways. The first one is, and I'm not English, so by the way, what is it, like a little octopus over there, or is that a hot dog cut in the shape of an octopus? I'm not English, okay? And I love broccolini, so you got me there. You got me on the broccolini. I'm a big fan. Typically, this is a dish that would not be mixed together, right? It would be like kind of filling on the bottom and then mashed potatoes on the top, and then you would take a spoonful and eat it like that. That's correct. It's not meant to be mixed together. Okay, so here's my question. And it's a multi-part one. Sorry, and Guinness isn't English, but like this, to me, this just looks like England. This does not necessarily look like it's served at the Guinness brewery itself, but here's what I'm saying. So do they want you to use the spoon to try to cut to dip a cross section out and eat it out of the glass? Because if so, I have a lot of problems. One being the filling to potato ratio is all fucked up. Like you want that to be a little wider because otherwise it's like, I mean, it's just too damn tall, right? And then the other one would be, do you scrape it out of the glass onto the plate? In which case it wouldn't be mashed potatoes on the top anymore. It would be mashed potatoes on the bottom. I get it also, by the way. Like, you're supposed to drop a shot of Jameson in here and chug it all. Yeah, can I get a beef Guinness pie Boilermaker, please? Can I get a Guinness pie bomb? Can you imagine? Honestly, I have a strong, like, imagination stomach, and just thinking about trying to chug something with this consistency made me a little sick to my stomach. Anyway, I get that this is supposed to look like a beer, but this is one of those ideas you'd see on Kitchen Nightmares where you're like, the chef would be like, so get this, it's Guinness pie, but we put it in the cup to look like a Guinness pint. And I think Gordon Ramsay would be like, have you ever thought about the radical idea of just making it like look normal and taste good instead of, I don't go to a restaurant to be like, wow, the food that I'm eating looks like one of the things it's made with. Anyway, I love the broccolini. Also, considering that this presentation, and I'm not saying it's inspired in a good way, but they put some thought into this. The rest of it is so embarrassing. For the spectacle of this pint glass of Guinness, it's just like a little spoon and a bunch of, broccolini sitting on the side. Like, it just looks so depressing. The long spoon is also, it's kind of like prison, right? Like, this looks like an airplane spoon or something, but, oh, man. How am I supposed to eat this? Is this a challenge? Okay, at first I was like, I've seen some flaming dishes before in my life, but when the wind picks up and it started, it actually, like, the flames get like a 6-inch spread on them when the wind picks up. That's a little much. I guess you gotta reach in over the top to try to grab it. Plin plin plon. Yeah, that sucks. It's very funny though. Yeah, I guess you just gotta wait for the server to, like, I don't know, put it out or something. It's very, this seems like serious liability. Oh, this next one is gross, man. Our corn chips were served in a rusty bucket. This one's pretty self-explanatory. I don't know what you could even comment on this one, but imagine getting to the bottom of the corn chips and it's just the bucket's all rusted out. Oh man, they ate it. I might eat it too, honestly. Like, I could get over myself for this one, but like, maybe it's not rust. Okay, maybe it's seasoning, but you gotta get. I mean, it looks a lot like rust for one. Whether it looks like shit is maybe just as maybe not just as important, but you get the idea. It's definitely rust. I'm just saying, like, if it looks like a bird crapped on your food, then even if they're like, oh, it's not bird crap, it's aioli, you'd be like, there's seeds in it. Dude, I mean, that's just reprehensible, but pasta flight ended up everywhere. This is just idiocy. How on earth are you supposed to eat this? The noodles are hanging over the flight before anyone's even dug in, presumably. Is there a realistic way that someone could actually consume this without causing an enormous mess? Not everything needs flights, Like, I get that it's like a trendy thing. Drinks, it makes sense. They don't take up a whole lot of space. They come in their own self-contained glassware, but you don't need a pasta or maybe at least I think if you want to do this idea, you got to come up with like proprietary cookware or flatware. You need to have like a little holder that has like 5 tiny bowls in it or something like that. You can't just stick it on on a cutting board and call it a day. I mean, pasta is basically like a liquid. Like, if you don't have it contained, it spills. I guess it's shareable, but even then, it's not like someone's taking one, someone's taking the other. You're all grabbing from the center. It's just, what a mess. They actually gave me a non-stick pan instead of a plate. That's like criminal negligence. Like, you can't.
You shouldn't have to pay.
Excuse me. Autoplay ads on Reddit. I'm very happy with my existing stock brokerage, okay?
Pay extra for up to the minute stock quotes. If you're trading, you need prices in real time.
I know, Quest Trade. I know what you're saying. You're saying Wealthsimple is a 15-minute delay on all of their stock quotes unless you pay for the Diamond membership, which is $3 a month. Yeah, okay. Quest Trade was also charging $9.99 a trade until recently when Wealthsimple put some pressure on them to do commission-free trades, okay? Exclamation point thank you. Exclamation point Wealthsimple at chat. Appreciate it. I'm not going to mute the tab because there are some video players, but anyway. You are not supposed to use metal on a non-stick pan. So I worry that you would be eating Teflon in this situation. Even if they don't cook in the pan and they just serve it in the pan, I don't know if Teflon has to be hot for it to be scraped off, but either way, I'm not that picky, honestly, but this would make me uncomfortable as a diner. If they served me this, I would be like, I don't know if I'd ask for a plate. I might just leave. Pay and leave, but anyway. Seen on a friend's Instagram, immediately thought of this sub. Yes, this is disgusting. This appears to be a dessert that's just served on the table. I don't know what it is, for one. You know what it looks like you were carrying a Cobb salad and then fell over. Like, do you eat it by scraping your spoon on the stone table? It just seems kind of irritating, honestly. I also don't. You think the table is the dessert? Like, it's a white chocolate table? I gotta be honest. I would lose my mind if I was at a restaurant and they were like, you know that thing you've been eating off the whole time? That is your dessert. I would be extremely impressed. I would be like, what the hell? That's incredible. This is a famous restaurant in Chicago called Alinea. Oh, it's okay. I mean, this probably costs like $300 plus. I have eaten at some fancy restaurants. I've never eaten at a 3 Michelin star restaurant, admittedly. So my tolerance for like hoity-toity haute cuisine, you know, we served you a nugget of sable fish with an upside down glass and like synthetic smoke on top of it so that we bring it to your table. We go like this and the smoke goes out and you go, ooh, you know, like my tolerance for that stuff is, I think, higher than the average person's, at least. This still irritates me. But here's what I'm going to say. I would at least like to know what the service looks like alongside of this, okay? If they just come out and they're like, you know, plonk, here you go. But if there's like a little flourish at the table or something like that, maybe for a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I don't know if I'd want to eat it, though. It'd be more like, you know, just being at Cirque du Soleil. It definitely does not look appetizing. I'll give you that. It was great. The dessert is a show. I can see that. Like, if we're judging it based on the food, I'm like, it looks kind of stupid. The show part might make it more interesting, but I mean, at least it's not this. I don't know what to say about this. This appears to be maybe some kind of ice cream sundae served in an absolutely enormous spoon. Just why everyone's saying just a spoonful? Is this a known restaurant or something? It's a visual joke. Oh, it's the King Batch Vine. That's right. Okay. I forgot. But that backflip though. I just like look, there's just things that are throwing me here, okay? One is this seems like the kind of thing you would see at like a very cheeky restaurant where like you take a 13-year-old for their birthday and they give you a sundae and like a hat on your birthday. But then what's messing with me more than anything else, like the spoon is obviously strange. But then the white tablecloth, which is like kind of, one level up on the dollar sign scale, insinuates that this is a place that thinks they're a little bit fancy at least. And then the fact that there's like a martini glass right next to them. It's just like, I'm just wondering, like, what's the vision of this place? Is this like a place that you go to for a fancy event to celebrate like an anniversary dinner? Or is it a place where you go to and like all the waiters call you a cocksucker or something like, is it one of those themed restaurants? Like the guy's wearing a hoodie. Like, I don't know, is the burger 7 feet tall? Or when you order an appetizer, is it $20 for like, 3 scallops or something like that? I don't know what they're doing here. I don't like this. The reason I don't like this mostly is because I wonder, like, if somebody's sitting across from you, like, aren't you inconveniencing them just to eat a sundae? It's not a huge deal. It's just, does one server carry this out? Or, like, is this a multiple servers have to carry it out? Like, I don't know, like a Robert Munch children's book cover or something? Pasta sauce bread in a wire cone. Serious, like, just why energy radiating off of this. How am I supposed to eat this? It just looks fucking horrible. How are you supposed to eat it? It's the worst one yet. It's just disgusting. Like, are you supposed to eat it with a knife and fork, or do you grab it with your hands? Can you imagine eating a calzone, but like inside of the calzone is a bunch of noodles and fettuccine alfredo, man? I think I would straight up throw up, to be honest with you. I don't think I could do it. Terrible. It's just a terrible idea. I'd send this back. This replaced an amazing restaurant in my town that was killed by COVID. All right. So it took me a second. This is a salad. There's some romaine lettuce inside of the head. There's some deconstructed croutons and a little Roman arch full of dressing. I don't know. Do you assemble it in the head and eat it? Do you remove everything from the plate and then put it on the plate and eat it? It's vaporwave aesthetic, right? It's a head of lettuce, get it? It's a jump to conclusions, Matt. You assemble it in your stomach? I wouldn't send it back because I feel like there's no way the restaurant is going to serve you a Caesar salad inside of an old bust of Antigone and not have a photo of it or at least a description on the menu. Like, I think if you're like, I'll take the Caesar salad, and then this came out, you would be like, okay, come the fuck on. Like, that's just ridiculous. But I think they must be advertising what you're getting into here. 2, put your beef in that box. Can I tell you, this is the one so far that I'm like, not only does this offend me the least, I'm like, this seems fine to me. My take on this is that this is maybe a super serious steakhouse. Maybe you order the beef by the ounce or something like that, and then it comes out with a little bit of spectacle. as such. I'm not like, oh, that's cool, but I'm like, I guess I get it. This one doesn't actually. I mean, I mean, if we're comparing this to this, like, look at this shit. This is just an abomination. This is just like weird. They could have just given you a plate. I'm sure that's not, people were like, it's newspaper. That's not newspaper. That's like custom printed butcher paper. It's, I admittedly, I'm probably seeing it in higher fidelity than you are on the stream right now. But like, I get that it's pretentious, don't get me wrong. But you know, you're at a place where realistically, I bet you're probably, this much beef here is probably like $60 minimum. So you're kind of like, you know, you get what you pay for. This doesn't offend me. I might roll my eyes. I think that's a good way to describe it. I might roll my eyes, but I would be like, oh, it looks good. Steak pie in a jar. The next, okay, this is horrible, obviously. Like, I just, so much of it is, I'm not insulting the fries, okay? Because the fries, I think, is just classic, like English chips. Maybe I'm used to other stuff. The hastily arranged, like untrimmed green beans is giving me a certain vibe. And then the necessity that absolutely everything will be mixed together no matter what when you take this out of the jar is a little, oh, there's snow peas. Sorry, my mistake. Still, is just a, and then this is maybe a little snobby. It's hard to tell from the photos, a little overexposed. They definitely took this with the flash on, or this is a high school gymnasium. I hate when you get served like a really saucy food in a pretty flat plate. Just give some flatware that has like a raised edge so that I'm not constantly babysitting like a pile of gravy to make sure it goes off the table. But this is like nothing compared to shoe boba. What do you think you would start with here? Do you think you would start with the heel, or you know what it is? It's nice that you could actually you could share this maybe with like someone that just wanted to try boba for the first time ever. You could be like, I'll take the toe and you can take the heel. See if you like it. This is, I have to imagine that this is more expensive than it deserves to be. Plus, you're absolutely right. Shoe boba, I believe, was Anakin Skywalker's nemesis from the first Star Wars pod racing scene. Kids' food on DVD case, photo from restaurant's Instagram page. It's a testament to how bad a lot of these ones were, like at the very top, that this one is just like stupid. Yes, plus, this is VHS, please. Zoomers. But like, this is just dumb. There's shoe brushes in the back. What the heck are these, man? I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what those are for. It gives new meaning to sweeping someone off their feet. Sweeping someone on my feet. Hey everybody, welcome back. This is just, I mean, I don't have anything else to say. This is just dumb. It's a very minor sin in comparison to the pasta cone. A bottle of fish. So this appears to be some kind of smoked fish appetizer. I'm kind of with Chad on this one. A little silly, but it looks not that bad. I would bat an eye at this for sure. I would be like, look at that, our fish came in a little bottle. And then I'd laugh about it. But I don't think I would be like, oh, this is crazy. We want seats? Okay, that just seems like really uncomfortable. These are snow shovels that have been turned into bar stools. It honestly just seems like painful. I'm assuming they like rounded the edges or something like that. But oh yeah, and pitchforks for the back. It just this is not designed to be sat on. Crepes served as babushka barbe. The thing that is so great about this is that it's being weighed at like the grocery store right now. Like, this is not a restaurant serving this. Like, are you at the deli counter and you're like, hey, give me one of those babushka barbes? Or is this... I've never... I got to start going to different grocery stores. Hey, can I get 300 grams of babushka barbe, please? I don't hate it. Like, it's weird, don't get me wrong, but I don't hate it. Removing splinters with greasy fingers. This one I do hate.
Go to art galleries.
Excuse me. This advertisement. Our worst enemy. Oh, wait, this is not an advertisement. This is actually, that's a video about them. They're going to serve a dish on a painting, man. Removing splinters with greasy fingers. This just bothers me because it really, like, I get that it's rustic, and I gotta say, the fish actually looks pretty dynamite to me. But being served in just like a I don't even know what to call it. Like, there's splinters coming off of it. There's like open staples and stuff like that just sitting out. Like, the food looks great, but it also looks like you know, dangerous. Like, I don't want the danger. By the way, this is a video, I think, of the food that we laughed at earlier. Father was a stalwart member of the plate industry, and you're taking money out of my child. You can't do that. Look, I'm just going to be honest. This is a problem for me because it's at like the intersection of art and mess, and I don't really know how to appreciate either. This is aggravating. Soft shell beef and chicken tacos in a glass. I mean, why? Yes. Also bad, I think. Tacos, the worst part of a taco is the mess to begin with. Everything else is beautiful. The mess is mildly annoying sometimes. But to make it even more messy, I'm also just weirded out. Like, what's going on? Like, what is this fold here? Is this the bottom of the taco folded up, or is there another tortilla down there? It's so much guacamole. It's served at the bar top like you're going to eat it with your hands. Surely they don't want you to take it out, take a bite, and put it back in, because it's all going to fall apart. Once you pick up a taco, that's a commitment to not putting it down until you finish the taco. Breakfast in an egg carton. So I'm not like a super snob about food, but the toast looks absolutely horrible. It's toasted like 2 out of 10 on one side and 0 out of 10 on the other. Let me hydrate for a moment. Then in the egg carton, I see a cherry. I see what I'm assuming to be Nutella. And then I see orange stuff, red stuff, and brown stuff, which I don't even know, man. Like, I'm assuming they're just strange kinds of jams. That looks bad to me. I would have thought we'd be getting down to the dregs by now, but maybe not. Served on a cleaver. Look, again, it's brazen, but at least it's plate-like. Flattened chips due to the weight. This has got to be like, try the spiciest chicken tender we've ever served. It's served in a chrome skull. Don't give me a HelloFresh ad. Okay, before we move on here, we gotta check top all time. Because top of the month had like many great posts. Top all time, I'm ready. You're gonna lose it? Most expensive restaurant I've ever been to, chef literally made the starter in our hand. Now, earlier I said I have a tolerance for hoity-toity haute cuisine nonsense. At its best, I think it's, experimenting with stuff that the economy of scale simply will not let happen at a smaller and cheaper restaurant. I understand. And, there's situations like you can go to super nice sushi restaurants. A sushi chef will make, like, you don't even order, basically. You just go, give me the service. They make one thing in front of you and put it on a plate and you eat it immediately. That's totally fine. I can't understand a reason why the chef would make the starter in your hand. Maybe I'm just being close-minded to the sensory aspect of it, but I just don't understand what gives this a benefit over the plate. The great restaurant to be a dishwasher at, though, let me tell you. Hibachi? Well, if he flipped it into your mouth or something like that, then sure. If he made this and then he went like, whoop, and it just popped into my shirt pocket, I would be like, this guy's incredible. Dinner and a show, and for only $500. The reason they give is because of the salt on your palm. I actually just fucking hate that, to be honest with you. I'm sure they make you wash your hands or something before you do it so that you don't shit your pants if you've got bad hygiene habits. But I don't want to eat the salt off of my hand. That's what the chef is there for. First patio since COVID, and this is what I get. I told the owner I'm going to post this on the sub, and he said he would bring it to me on a plate next time if the sandwich blew up. Look, this was social engineering. This is bad, but it's not that bad. It got upvotes because they fished for it. It's not good, but it's not nearly as bad as serving it in your hand. How about, dude, there's so many of these. Slop table for 20, please. Here's some bone marrow, pesto. Is it polenta, maybe? Black truffle sauce just served right on top of the... Slop them up! Parmesan? I'm waiting for when he Oh, what the... Oh! Hey, bam! Bam! Breadcrumbs. This entire thing can feed 20 people or 6 raccoons and cost $55 per person. It's just come on. My bread was served inside roadkill. Yeah, okay, that's pretty disgusting. I don't think it's genuine roadkill, but it is. I don't want to eat bread out of a fur pocket. Apologies. Due to manufacturing issues, we're running very low on wooden skillets. Therefore, most meals will be served on plates. The saddest story ever told. Oh, no. You know what? We'll just leave instead. This is something I don't get. So obviously this is one of the worst examples you'll ever see of it because it's not even a drink. But sometimes you'll eat at a restaurant and you'll order your food and then you'll see them walk by 2 seconds later with a Bloody Mary that's got like an entire sandwich as a garnish. And that's when I've realized that I shouldn't be here, but it's already too late. Like I've already ordered, like it's like when you go to see a horror movie or something like that. You just gotta ride it out. When you accidentally breathe in too deep, you leave it in your lungs too long, and then it hits you 4 seconds later, you're like, there's no going back. You just gotta ride it out. But this is horrible. Like, this is just... You know what this reminds me of? The video where Kinoshita Yuka took an entire, like, McDonald's meal, including a Coke, and then put it inside of a rice cooker and then steamed it and ate it with a fork. And even though, like, I've seen her eat like 20,000 calories of slop, she's always like, the savoriness is delicious. Even that one, she was like, this is not good. It was like the least enjoyment I've ever seen her glean from a meal. It has the same vibe. I just don't understand. This is like they made flatware that you can eat off of, like this stuff. The syrup is already going down his arm. So this one, can I tell you, there's almost an element of this. I mean, you shouldn't be serving this on such a narrow contraption, but simultaneously, the guy is holding it up to take a photo, okay? And the lady is like, are you sure? It looks good. I still think it should be on a plate, but he is holding it like up like this. So I can understand, like, I put that's his responsibility on that one. This looks like New York to me. Am I wrong? It does appear like he's in a crosswalk as well. My boyfriend was just served a Bloody Mary in a fry basket. Basically, just like, I don't like bag drinks at the best of times, but usually when they have like a Capri Sun hole and then you just poke the straw through, I'm like, at least it's kind of a cup. But this looks like it's just literally a bag and then you take a clothespin off and drink it with a straw. I hate that, man. The other thing about a bag is, like, it's not designed to drink liquid straight out of the bag. Liquid gets trapped in like certain pockets and folds and stuff like that. You know, a rigid vessel allows you to get it out more easily because you're not fighting against the container in which it's in. It's just unnecessary. You know, at least it's unique, at least. But give me at least the gin and tonic one was like a rigid structure. But for the most part, drinks in weird vessels is not as bad as trying to eat off of an irregular plate. My wife's cocktail was served in a hollow stone and had to be drunk through the hole without a straw. Okay, so immediately I take back my words. This is just a spill waiting to happen. The hole is so big, too. Just with the straw, like, it's okay. Yeah, I'd like to see what's in my drink maybe as well. Could just be like a Bud Light Lime in there. It's just weird. Okay, it's a troll post. That's fine. Horrifying. Oh, man. They were right. I do not like this. This is served on a napkin. I don't know what it is. It's some kind of canapé. Maybe it's like a salmon tataki or something, but why on the napkin, you know? I just, like, it's just weird. Not a plate, but this hip sitting rail at a new burger place is too crazy to not show. Yes, I also would not like that. Oh, another one served on your hand. Cheese foam that is spooned onto the back of your hand by the waiter, and then you have to lick it off. Amazing. They carried my bill out on a typewriter. I hate that shit, man. Oh, this is the one that just, I'm like, the dinner's over. I just want to get the hell out of the restaurant. You're dragging over a damn typewriter. Servers have biceps like bulging out of their sleeves. Come on, man. Do it. Hey, when it comes over, I don't need the machine. I do need the machine though. It's 2021. Oh man, that's just needless. I guess I'm not supposed to eat my soup. Oh. I think what makes this subreddit so great is that like every single one of them is just like, but why? You could have just put it in a bowl. Hello.
And new kicks.
Well, new shoes. Look at this. Hello, honey. Okay, it's a subreddit for restaurants serving things in stupid ways.
Okay. What the heck is that?
Someone I knew got her food on some kind of bone. That's just a big old bone. I don't even know what that's. Maybe it's from a cow or a horse.
Elephant?
If they got an elephant, like that's an elephant pelvis or something. That's crazy. La 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 la. Apple pastry served on an image of a plate on an iPad.
Tacky.
That is tacky. I couldn't agree with you more. They're almost taunting you with the image of a plate. La 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 la. I mean, is it satire? Yeah, but I don't want satirical food. I don't want my food to be a parody. I just want it to be, food. Ravioli on a clothesline. Also, it's pretty good, right? Also seems a little bit ridiculous. Ravioli on a clothesline.
That's pretty good.
I don't think you, this is, if I worked here, I think I would be pissed. Because, I mean, for the diner, I think this is worse because the ravioli is punctured. Which is just, I would rather have them be pristine if possible. And it's definitely possible because you could just make a plate. But then the fact that the dishwasher has to wash 8 clothespins every time.
I doubt they wash those.
They gotta wash them, right? Like, I feel like they have to. This is an American starter called fried ravioli. So if you watch Kitchen Nightmares, you'll see it on like literally, I would say half of the episodes. Whenever they're like, Gordon comes in and is like, "Hey, what's good here?" They're always like, "Oh, you got to get the fried ravioli." It's like a little deep fried little pizza roll type thing, but it's just so needless. Also, what is this? Did they build this out of like an old sewing machine or something? I don't understand what it even is.
I guess it's a little too big.
Oh,
She just
no.
shook her feet and they just came off.
Oh, no. I watched my fries drift away because someone else wanted fried zucchini. What the heck is this?
The title is good.
So it's like a shareable platter, but instead of being a platter, it's on like a Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
Again, look.
It's not that bad.
It's funny. I mean, like, here's what I would say to OP on this one. I would just say, hey, you can wait a second for the fries. When they grab some zucchini, you can just pull it back around. It's weird. Like, I would prefer if it was just on a plate of some sort. But sure, this is, at least it works. Like, some of this other even this, like,
Oh my god.
that's probably Whistler.
No.
You don't think in Whistler they would serve you pizza on a snowboard?
That sounds horrible.
I could see it. Well, you know what? I've never seen this soda before, so it must be another part of the world. It's kind of, you know what it is like I just don't know what I'm looking at. Like I can't tell where the pizza ends and the board begins. Friend sent me this. I was not as impressed. Okay, so this is like the original,
Oh,
right?
okay.
These are all iPads. That's
But why are they all plugged in?
I bet they have the image of the plate underneath them when you curry on a chopping board. This again, this is just idiocy. I don't know how many times we've been through this. Like, why do so many restaurants serve saucy food on a flat apparatus? And then the rice on the side with all the crinkle cut carrots in it, and
What is?
if any, it's not like this would be bad still if they inverted it. Like if they put the curry in the bowl and the rice on the thing, at least you could spoon one bit of curry onto the rice and eat it,
Yeah.
and probably not spill so much. But la la la. She's like, you're blocking my view of myself. Literally 6 nachos for the whole table. Look at this kid. The kid is so like.
who thought of the? Is it the same restaurant with the ravioli?
It might be. You can't use a clothespin on a brittle surface like this. Like it's gonna shatter your tortilla chips. That's not what it's built for. This is like drying your dishes on a clothesline. You're just begging for trouble. Again, I am not simply being like, obsessed with how the workers feel, but like for 6 tortilla chips, the workers, maybe they wash the clothespins, maybe they don't, but they've got 3 sauce containers, 3 bespoke wooden spatulas. That's 6 things to wash just so that they can eat 6 tortilla chips. She has contagious laughter going right now too. Like it's.
Are you scared?
Sometimes she fake laughs though. She goes ha 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 ha. Another user stole my pic from a previous post here and made it to the front page. So here's the uncropped version. I don't know. I mean, what's? Am I missing something? It is like it's in a mug. Babu. That doesn't seem that bad. I think they got upvoted for the social engineering, which is fine. This is getting out of hand. In a restaurant in Canada last night, I was served pudding on, and I wish I was joking, an ancient VHS copy of The Bodyguard. Oh, this is a bedpan. This is like what you would pee in at the hospital?
Oh, what? That's gross.
All right, that's pretty gross. I needed more context on that. Hey, this is also dumb. I wonder where that is. I'm just going to guess that it's Toronto.
I was going to say Quebec.
It's probably Kelowna.
In Canada.
Ooh, hey, I don't want to get DMCA John Cena 20th Century Fox. Okay, anything I have to click on for context, no thank you. I do like this, though. $70 a head luncheon, have some butter on a rock. The most awful thing ever. Broccoli impaled on a metal thing?
Supposed to be a tree or something.
I just don't understand why. It's just insane. Love it when sand gets in my soup. I mean, it's edible sand. I hate that.
What is the purpose of that?
I guess it's like a cool treasure hunt, Like when you get the dish, you get to go, you get to look for your soup, and
I
then
think that's the server.
Yeah, you might be right. Yeah, I hate that. It better be the best soup I've ever had in my entire life. Overcooked eggs served in the pan they were cooked in. Thanks. Okay, that is a situation. The food looks horrible. It's way like the service is terrible, but the food looks so bad. I don't even understand this one. So this is the DJ known as Marshmallow. He cut a head of lettuce in half, and he's throwing a bunch of spinach around it. Okay. And then what happens next? Okay, there you go. You thought he was going to make you eat that a whole head of lettuce, dummy. Thank God they're not doing this in the back. That would be so boring.
What are they?
I think it's like some yellow peppers, some cucumbers.
Are they making salad?
This is a big salad. Some cherry tomatoes. Which I love how he dumped the cherry tomatoes like upside down to make sure they stayed in the middle. Everything else he was just like oh, and don't forget about the hearts of romaine, the premium cut from the lettuce. We'll zest some lemon over. Oh, some lemon juice. Okay, you're really not gonna zest that? I'm just gonna say it's kind of a lot of lemon juice for a salad,
Yeah.
but I mean, he's really going.
Oh God.
He went back for thirds on that one. Oh, and then it's the Salt Bae with the salad knife. Okay, man, this just keeps going. Man, you're in the middle of a conversation or something like this, and then your salad's here.
Can you imagine leaving your cell phone on the plate?
Oh my God. I look at the guy, I think is like, please, just, can you take it away? What do you do when you're done with it? Do they just have like a scraper?
Yeah,
They come and scrape it into the trash can? Is Parmesan, what, I don't even know what that is. Mushrooms, maybe?
Olives.
Oh, big olive? I think they're mushrooms, honestly.
Really?
Mystery meat. Those beans, rocks. That sucked.
Rats.
These same tiles were in the bathroom. Okay. It has a plate, but
Oh my
still.
God.
It's also terrible. So served on a plastic rat skeleton. Also, this looks like a private event. Maybe this is like the Rat Enthusiast Association of North America, because it is also probably the worst charcuterie platter I've ever seen in my entire life.
See you, Dada.
See you. It's like a pint of cranberries and then cheddar, mozzarella, and brie, and then just like 7 handfuls of crackers. Like it's don't get me wrong. If you were like, do you want some? I'd be like, hell yeah. But if I got this from a restaurant, first off, I would be like, this is $90 and this is not what I expected. Okay, fake plate, but that's funny. So these MFers gave me a plate upside down. Annoying for sure. At least it fits in there, but annoying. A meringue served on a magically levitated pillow. This is just one of those things where you're like, this is not what I signed up for. Sure, I guess. Some people have too much money. It's just weird. I mean, I gotta say, it looks actually edible and good, which is different than a lot of the things we've seen here, but it's dumb. That's fine. We got hot pot Barbies here. Oh, I've seen this. I saw this one on TikTok back in the day. Wow, just what I wanted. Finger wine. This was like right at the start of COVID. I saw this video and it made my head explode. I guess this is in the Czech Republic. The server just walks around and is like, do you want red or white? And then just takes his finger off the gun. It's so good. Oh, man. Friend of mine went to a restaurant. Their starter came in a book. We saw that one. Fish are friends, not food. That's just a statement. Spaghetti bolognese in a bread cone, man. Look at that. I told you. They're always, this has got to be the same place. It looks like the same presentation. I ordered a cocktail and the bartender started preparing it in a child's welly. Hold on. I speak Australian. I think this means that this drink is made in a child's shoe. Like a rain boot. Okay. Let's find one more. Get up to 16 free meals. I work as a dishwasher. I want plates, please. Thank you. I told you. I told you the servers are hating this more than, or the dishwashers are hating this more than anybody else. And then I gotta look at this. Just go ahead and dump all my shrimp over some empty beer cans, please. It just absolutely looks just vile. By the way, did you know Modelo is the #1 selling import beer in the United States of America? I don't know what I would have thought that it was, honestly. But I would have thought Modelo would be like in the top 5 for sure, but it's #1. I had no idea.